Welcome back to the Mac Music Review Newsboys review series where I tackled most of the Newsboys albums. We've been looking at the 2000s era Newsboys albums, which I'll link in the description, and I have to say they're very good. The two albums we checked out, Take Me to Your Leader and Go, are both really great, super creative Christian contemporary music albums that are just jam-packed with highlights and just really creative moments and great vocals and lyrics and music, and yeah, they're just really great. But then at the end of the 2000s or whatever, and when we got into the 2010s, there's a change in management. Michael Tate from DC Talk took over the Newsboys, and then they made some albums, and this is one of the more recent ones, one of the most new releases from them, even though it was 2016, so it's a little bit old at this point, 5 years. We're looking at Love Riot by Newsboys. Love Riot has 10 tracks, and it has never been more obvious that an album is made specifically to get played on the radio. Because Michael Tate Newsboys, unlike the original Newsboys were popular. They were successful to an extent. But Michael Tate Newsboys took Newsboys to the next level because people's kids, people were growing up and then they were having kids, and then all the boomer parents were like, oh, Newsboys? They heard the name Newsboys, even though it's an entirely different band, no similarities whatsoever. This is entirely different. This is very, generally speaking, very stale, very by the numbers, paint by the numbers, very inside of the box Christian contemporary music. CCM is what this is, and what generally speaking what Michael Tate Newsboys is, and this album more so than any of their other albums. The music for the most part is washed out and generic. The lyrics are as safe as they possibly could be, except there is the song Guilty, which is so openly like political. It's about, and this is one of the songs that's most obviously written for a movie ever, because if you didn't know, actually you probably do, because one of the most famous Christian movies ever made is God's Not Dead. And the name of the movie is based off of the Newsboys song, the Michael Tate Newsboys song, which is the most popular song any incarnation of Newsboys has ever released. And so anyway, God's Not Dead 2 came out, and they made a movie where the lyrics are so obviously 100% based on the movie. It's like that Matthew West song Unplanned, and there's a movie called Unplanned about, it's a pro-life movie, and yeah. The album has a few highlights. Usually when it goes big, it kind of goes home or tries to do stuff that's kind of outside of the box. Crazy is actually an enjoyable song. Hero is solid, as well as Love Riot for the big hook, and Hero as well with how dramatic it is. And then Earthquake has some cool synthy electronic music, not anything mind-blowing, but it sounds really nice, and it's a nice change of pace of the slog that is the middle section that goes from Guilty to You Hold It All to No Longer Slaves to Family of God to Committed. And then what I want them to say is Fine. All in all, the album is an absolute drag. It's not fun to listen to. It's not a good album at all. I will never come back to this ever unless I talk about it for another. What? Why would I review this again? It's just a slog. It's just not fun to listen to. Especially if you don't like Christian contemporary music, there's literally no way I can recommend this. Well, I can recommend Go, and especially Take Me to Your Leader, more so than Go even, to someone who doesn't even listen to Christian contemporary music or Christian music in general, or Christian rock in general. This is just a hard pass unless you're just like Christian contemporary music. Then maybe you'll find a few songs you like. It's not a good album. And I'm giving it 2 stars out of 5. I surprised myself with this review because I thought I would just kind of do a non-review, where I've done that before, where I'm like, oh man, I don't want to talk about this album. This album sucks. I don't want to talk about it. It's bad, man. 2 out of 5. Just go watch something else. Get on with your day. No, I actually reviewed it. I talked about it. I gave you guys the goods. Anyway, I'll link the other 2 Newsboys reviews down in the description. More Newsboys reviews to come. You can check in the comment or in the description of the video, and you'll see the other albums I'm reviewing from their catalog. Not all of them, of course. They have a ton of albums, but I am reviewing 3 other Michael Tate era Newsboys albums. So if you're interested, stay tuned and have a great rest of your day.